What's up, y'all? Change of environment. This is a bit different. Different setting, different atmosphere, right? And I actually prefer it this way, honestly, because it's late. It's 1 something at night. I don't got my watch. So, however, I decided that instead of just going to sleep, and I got work in a couple hours, why not just work right now? And I don't want to say it's work. I'd say, why don't I just pursue my hobby, or not pursue the thing that I'm wanting to do for the long term, right? So here I am. Day 13. Here we are. We made it. Hope you guys are doing well. I had quite an interesting day. I wouldn't say interesting, but it was a good day. Any day alive, any day that I get to experience life, be with family, see my family happy, healthy, and just the love that's surrounded around all that. It's all good. It's a good day. And yeah, it was a Sunday as well, so you'll probably be seeing this on Monday or Tuesday, to those ladies and gentlemen that view this video. As far as what we need to talk about, well, I may need a second. Let me just it's good stuff. A little too sweet. It's the Latafa camera, and I've been collecting some clones. I'm not a fragrance creator, however, I do appreciate fragrances. They make life a little bit more intriguing, mysterious, depending on the smell you wear, and that's what I like about them. And that's the camera. Here's my latest pickup. It's the, can't even see that, but why am I, let me show you this pop out right there. There you go. This is the Latafa Big. Damn. That's manly. That's the best way to put that bottle. And I have 5 more, so there's that. I can get into it. Yeah, why not, right? I actually don't even know which one this is. I know this is a John Paul Gaultier or something like that. It's one of those. I didn't get shit. It's very subtle. But very sexy. That's what I like about this. It's another manly scent, obviously. They're all pretty good. I have them for my own, times I need them. My favorite right now. Geez. This one's really, really good. It's the French Avenue Side Effect. And yeah, it smells like whiskey, whatever that smells like. It smells like rum or some sort of alcohol concoction. Very interesting. That was not my favorite, by the way. Here's my favorite. Zamaya Massage. Oh, damn. That's good stuff right there. Now, I usually don't buy the super expensive ones that are alternative to these. For instance, Zamaya Massage, that one's more apparently Louis Vuitton imagination, and I would compare the two, but I haven't tried Louis V, and it's not, from what I heard, exactly the same, but it gives you that same profile. So very nice. And as well as the rest that I've showed you, they're all some sort of, not everything, they're all some sort of dupes. They're trying to be a more expensive version of what they are. And to be honest, like fragrances, I think fragrances have that layaway for them, because nobody smells you and say that's Louis Vuitton. They might, if they have Louis Vuitton, maybe, or if it smells like that, right? But nobody knows. That's the point. And if you're gonna get a bottle that's you can use more of, that perhaps lasts longer than the original fragrances, and maybe even a little bit more better for the price, you take my money for that shit, right? Like, I think that's like a no-brainer almost. However, if you're balling, if you got baller money, right, and you're a fragrance influencer, fragrance enthusiast, I can see why you purchased all the other stuff. But that's why I watch the fragrance content creators. Noel, that's the main one. There's some other ones. I just don't know their names. And yeah, you just kind of like, it's a good way for you to figure out what you like. Simple as that. So I have a feeling this is going to be a short video, and we are 9 minutes into it, so the thing about these rants, and I do confess, I haven't really been putting my all into them, and I do believe that's a little unfair, not just to me but for you guys. It's not like I have a lot of followers. Actually, currently I only have 1 subscriber, so I know it's not necessarily a big deal, but it is. So it's just my analysis of my performance in terms of showing up for myself every day, and I think that's gonna be the foundation of what this platform is going to be built off of, is if I work hard enough, if I delegate myself to this craft of perfecting myself and helping others along this journey, I think the results will speak for themselves. It's quite simple as that. And I can remember from the last couple of videos, maybe I seemed a bit bummed out. I seemed a bit disappointed, discouraged, I would say more so, because I realized, yeah, I have started, but I just realized how far away the destination is, right? It's far. And I see why people quit. I see why people start this stuff. YouTube, other things too. It doesn't have to be just YouTube or content creation. But since we're doing this, let's talk about this. There's a lot of people that start YouTube channels, post a lot of videos, and maybe even had a viral hit, maybe, right? So, but they fall off. And that's because they lack the consistency and the discipline to the craft, to the people, to themselves. It makes sense, and it's also very liberating because I know my competition's gonna quit at some point. I know that sounds almost devious or conspiring for achievement, maybe, whatever the words might be for this scenario, what I'm thinking of. I believe if I am to make it, if everyone wants to do this, and if everyone was so consistent and super hard working and whatnot, right? There will be so many more millionaires, right? I'm not gonna say they're millionaires, but let's just use that as an example. And once everyone has all the gold, it's dispersed throughout everyone that's made it by being consistent, disciplined, and everything. Not that there's a lot of people that do that, and that's the whole point. The value of the gold, the value of what you're achieving isn't as prominent. If everyone had a six-pack and everyone had big muscles, and if everyone was 6'5", not that that's the choice, you get what I'm trying to say. It diminishes the value of being 6.5, having six packs, having muscle, being healthy. These things are very valuable to us because they're hard to achieve. The people that watch Mr. Beast or any of those, I would say the people that made it, iShowSpeed, whoever, right? Your content creator is that you follow. These people, and granted, some of them do get lucky or take a deal or whatever the case might be. But they wouldn't be where they are if they hadn't started from where I am right now, or from where they were at the time that they were doing what I'm doing, starting 12 videos in, 13 videos in. This is they're on their 1,000 plus videos at this point. And I've talked about, for instance, Joe Rogan, right? Because I can see myself having a podcast. I will announce that someday, sooner than later. And just because I like talking to people, I like to pick brains. I like to see what makes people tick. I like to learn from people that have experienced more than me in life, and not just more than me in life, but experience a different reality than me in life. not just for me, is so that obviously the viewer also has something to listen to. And I think once we realize that everyone's life is so different from each other, that our experiences are not linear in any way, shape, or form, even though, like my brother's experience, for instance, my family, they have a different experience of what we went through than I did, right? And that's why I have a bit of a different perspective on things than they do. And that's okay. I think that's the beauty of it. And having podcasters like Joe Rogan, or, I mean, obviously, they're at the level where they're able to talk to more important people, more people that are well known, right? Granted, I mean, they work their ass off. He's on his 2,000 plus video. It's a podcast at this point, and that's almost like 2 hours each, average. So you can't say that he got lucky. He worked hard for it, and he deserves it. Honestly, I don't see why someone who delegated so much of their time to their craft, even if it doesn't feel like work to them. But maybe that's the whole point. If it doesn't feel like work to you, you're gonna be able to last longer in this game. And I'm learning to love the work. I'm learning to um, enjoy the work rather than despise it and just be ready to be off. I want to look forward to coming home every night and be like, damn, I get to do another video today. How blessed am I? Really, how blessed am I? I get to sit here. I don't know my fucking watch. Late, probably 2 o'clock right now in the morning, and I get to talk about my life. I get to practice my voice. I get to sit here in my bed, talk about my fragrance collection. Not that that's important, but these are things that we have to be grateful for and learn to love, because it's easy to take it for granted. Yeah. And it is easy to take it for granted at times. I mean, that's what makes us human, I suppose. Especially when you're so exposed to the social media, right? And everyone else's life, highlights of their life. Of course, you're going to feel some type of way when you don't have it going for you, because you feel like, for whatever reason, you feel, I don't want to say envious, because I don't get envious. I more see it as like, damn, they can do that, and he's only what, 21? I should be able to do that too, and I'm 24. That's comparing myself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, something like that. And instead of realizing, as I mentioned, all this abundance that's around me, all of this opportunities that lie in front of me on my phone, I get to just put up my camera and record. There were people in our lifetimes, perhaps even before that, didn't have that opportunity to just sit down and just not worried about someone trying to barge into their house, or, you know, be killed or be killed in wars. And there's some places in our world right now that unfortunately they're having to go through that, such as Gaza and Palestine. I said Gaza and Palestine. Y'all get what I'm talking about. And there's more than that. That's also a very unfortunate situation. it's it makes you lose hope, specifically for humanity, right? When you see these things, and that's why I try to stay off of social media, especially like watching news outlets. Not that you can trust many of them, anyways, right? It's we're not meant to consume so much information, and not just information, but information that we personally can't do anything about. You ever had that moment where you just wake up and you look at your phone and instantly your mood? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to like. I guess that was kind of like the, I don't want to say good thing about living in a day and age where the phones didn't exist, because I'm not saying that these things are not important, but these things do have an effect on your well-being, because these things are relatively to your life probably not important. And I hate to say that, because these things are very important. And that's why it's so disheartening when you see these things, when you see injustice, when you see people getting slaughtered for having opposing views and boundaries, whatnot. There's people fighting for dumb shit, and I hate to even be getting political on this rant, but it's just how it's going to be for now, right? And yeah, I just wish I hope to see humanity in my lifetime have a sense of peace as a whole, not just America. God bless America. Not just Palestine and the Gazan people, or anyone. I hope we all get to see peace. I hope we all get to see some form of justice to all these things, because unfortunately, when the thing about good people, right? Good people, most will not bargain for power, because power, and maybe it's a psyop, maybe it's something that most good people, right? And I'm not saying every good person is like this, but there's so many good people out here, right? As well as bad, that don't choose to go take on a stress of becoming the president of the United States, or putting themselves in a position of power to good things, because it's not what they want to do. Not just that, but it's not what they're signing up to do in life. They just want to live a good life with their family, take care of their family, and, just be left alone, I feel like. Obviously serve their community to some degree, right? But in general, be left alone in peace from, all the worries. And it's a luxury, sure. But there's also people that are bad, that seek these positions so they can infiltrate our society. And that's where injustice takes place. There's a lot of people in power right now. There's always going to be, unfortunately, unless something drastic happens, that it's a never-ending game, and unfortunately, it's not a game that most will play because deep down we have a realization, if logically, that these things are not gonna go away at all, and there's only so much of a difference you can make. I know that's not a good mindset to have. However, I'm not saying do nothing. What I am saying is do what you can. Spread love as much as you can because this world really needs it right now. And I understand you got your own problems. You can give a shit about anyone else. That's the sort of vibe I get in America in general. It's very, or I don't want to say America specifically, but society. Everyone's so tunnel vision into the technology aspect of everything, like TikTok and whatnot, the news, hearing bad shit happen all at once, right? That it programs their mind to be like, fuck these people. Not because they had a bad experience with someone like me, maybe, right? Might have been a few. But nothing that makes someone say, man, he deserves to get fucked up. I'd be damned if I did something like that. Because that's just blasphemy at that point. That's crazy. But you know what I'm saying, like, in general. And, I mean, it will be nice for a friend of mine to be bringing the receipts, but it's not like that right now, so I would like to not argue, just put it out there that most of my friends, family members, people that know me and love me, and maybe not even love me, they would all say that Ahmed's a really good guy. He's a good man. He tries to be positive. He tries to uplift. I don't know what they would say, honestly. I'm speculating at this point, and I know that's not fair. But these are the things that I imagine that would be said. And I'm sure that there will be some people, maybe even things that might be said that catches me by surprise. Because you never really know how someone really feels about you, because what they show to you in person is not what they feel about you inside. When you're away, when you're suddenly doing good or doing bad in life. And that's okay. I mean, what can you really do about that? In that sense, I can see why people are like, I'm just gonna do my thing, fuck everyone else, and fuck it. Right? And it's not that general and vague, but you get what I'm trying to say with that. It's all about taking care of yourself, your needs first, and of course you should. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't serve your community. You shouldn't help out that man on the side of the road. He's been standing there all day in the sun. Nobody knows each other's situation, and I mentioned my friend, my coworker, that took his own life. A man that nobody would have ever thought, at least not people that work, maybe even the people that had known or knew him, would assume that he was the one dealing with a lot of mental issues. Yeah, mentally dealing with a lot of things, and how much of a toll that it must have been on that person, that you kind of just, it's not like I can reverse back time, and if I can, I would, and I would ask him, hey, you good, bro? You need anything? You know, it's more love would have possibly saved his life. What can you do now? Or what can you do now is spread more love and be the example that people can be inspired by to be as well. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I did 30 fucking minutes. Damn. Whoa. Talk about a short video, right? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this wasn't... I was a bit all over the place. And it's kind of how these videos are for the time being. What I need to start doing, and I will, is chopping these videos up and putting them on TikTok and stuff. I'm just literally just feeding my YouTube algorithm. Not as consistent as I should be, but I'm pushing it out, you know. I'm making that sauce. And y'all are gonna feel it one day, so thank you. Have a good night, ladies, gentlemen. See you on 3/14.